This is the shoe Nike claims can make any runner 4% faster. It's called the Vaporfly 4%.
We've shown these to some of our external partners, and they've helped measure them and independently verify them. And I think even from a science perspective, their best scientific term was they're just magic.
To prove just how magic, Nike is attempting to break the last great barrier in running, a marathon completed in under 2 hours.
It's a little bit like the sub 10-second 100 meters. It's a little bit like the 4-minute mile. It's one of those big barriers for kind of human potential.
In the past century, elite marathoners have shaved close to an hour off the world's best time. The current record stands at 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 57 seconds. Those last 3 minutes might not seem like much, but they're the difference between what is and isn't humanly possible.
This project is about proving that human being has no limitation. Above all, I want to make history.
That's Eliud Kipchoge. He's one of the best long-distance runners in the world. Nike signed on him and 2 other athletes, Zersane Tadisa and Lalisa Desisa, to try and break 2 hours.
I think the first reaction from most of the runners who've seen them, just visually, is they don't look like a traditional shoe. They're a little bit thicker than they're used to. Certainly when they hold them, they're a little bit stiffer than they're used to. And maybe in prototype phase, they're not as pretty as they're used to.
Nike worked on that, and these are the custom-designed Vaporfly Elites. You won't find these in stores. They were specifically tailored for the 3 runners to wear on race day. Inside the shoe, there are 2 key innovations. The sole is made from a foam that's very light, but still thick enough to support the foot.
You want the athlete to be able to take the dampening, the suspension from their body and sort of dissipate that through the foam, but then you also want that propulsion back out. So we have this amazing foam that does both of those, like no other foam that we've ever used in the past.
Second, the sole is embedded with a carbon fiber plate that helps with propulsion.
So think of a spike plate, something that really helps propel you through the next stride. It's pretty stiff, it's also very, very thin and very, very light, but you can tune that specifically to your athlete needs and your running gait.
But can an athlete really run 4% faster just by putting on a pair of shoes?
If everything is done properly, then I think that this is a possibility.
That's Ben Onig. He's an independent expert in biomechanics. He's conducted studies on the benefit of using plates in running shoes.
We have a lever here that is about from the ankle joint to that point here. Now if we have a plate and make that plate a little bit stiff, a little bit longer, then we can increase that lever. And you can imagine that when the lever is bigger, that you have an advantage in performance.
While Neig hasn't seen the shoes, he says if they are to have a major impact, Nike will have to tune the angle of the plates to the gait of each athlete.
The question is whether they do the right thing, and that's not easy. That's very complicated. The tuning of a shoe for an athlete is not an easy thing.
The shoes aren't the end of Nike's plan. To control as many variables as possible, the athletes aren't running in a big city marathon. Instead, Nike is putting on its own event at a racetrack in Monza, Italy.
So I'm super confident in the product, but I also know that that's got to translate to the human beings that are actually putting themselves on the line and in that day. But we're doing everything we can to put them on the start line to be able to achieve their goal.
There's just a few weeks left to get everything right.